It's so great to be in front of a national leader here today. And Larry, I'm so happy that we made a really great first impact a couple weeks back at the industry trade show. We really enjoyed talking with you, and we hope to move forward in this process with you. Before we get started with everything though, I just really want to say as a team, we appreciate how much you guys care about your employees. Just from spending $500,000 during COVID to make sure your employees are taken care of, everybody's safe. When high stress, high fear environments like that, it's so important to take care of them. And throughout, Larry, you just emphasized the information you provided us. We want our employees taken care of. We want the company legacy preserved. And as a team, we really admire that. That's the kind of company we love to work with. So we did provide you guys with an agenda today. This is what we'll be going over within our meeting. My name is Dave McNulty. I'm the Managing Director of Investment Banking here at Star Capital, and these are my associates.
Hello everybody, my name is Ryan Rivera. I'm the Managing Director of Mergers and Acquisitions here for Star Capital.
Hi everyone, I am George Newcomb. I am the Managing Director of U.S. Capital Markets.
Hello everyone, I'm the Managing Director of Sales and Services, and my name is Vincent Bucci.
Good morning everyone, I'm Shelley Barth, and I'm the Managing Director of the manufacturing sector.
So our firm, Star Capital, we are a full-service investment bank that provides new, innovative, and strategic solutions to middle-market companies since 1984. We have advisory specialists that take into consideration manufacturing, construction, and a whole host of other sectors. So our most recent transactions that we've completed are Cornerstone Building Grants, which is the one that we just finished, which took us 5 months at $450 million. And the reason why it was completed so quickly was because the companies synergized so well with each other.
So just to break down the current situation, Larry, you've spent your whole life building up this awesome company, but it's time to move on and pursue other hobbies in life. And so as of right now, you have about 2 options on the deal. One of them being the L&L management buyout from John and Sheila. They would take over the company moving forward. And then you guys have been approached by Stepstone, we understand from the information you provided us. And we know you're in talks, but further negotiations really haven't happened yet. And so you guys are still waiting to hear a little bit from them.
Larry, so you've asked us to value your company, and that's exactly what we've done here. So we looked at 3 different financial valuation methodologies to determine the most accurate value for a company. So we looked at the discounted cash flows, the transaction comps, and the trading comps. And the result yielded a wide envelope and an overall business value of $95 million for your company. What we've done is compared our valuation against the valuation of the Stepstone offer and the management buyout, and we've determined that if you move forward with either of those, you will be selling your business for a discount.
So although we took a conservative approach to the valuation, we do have an optimistic outlook for your prospects over the next 5 years. We anticipate that 2023 will be your most challenging year as part of the forecast due to a variety of factors. First, obviously everybody's experiencing inflation. You can tell that when you go to the grocery store. Some other things that are impacting the current year's projections are the decreased supply costs. We're anticipating that the petrochemical industry costs will go down over the next 5 years. We're also projecting an increase in demand as the construction industry begins to recover from the slump due to COVID, and so there'll be an increased demand for your products. And finally, we're recommending that you implement a dynamic pricing model for your customers. So you've offered, in order to protect your margins, you've passed along some of the increased costs to your customers. We recommend that you, as costs go down, that you offer some of those savings to your best customers while passing along some of the costs to your least profitable customers in order to continue to protect your margin.
Breaking down your current options just a little bit more in depth. The Stepstone acquisition, the talks, they flashed that 7 to 8 EBITDA multiple to you guys. They do strongly prefer a management rollover of John and Sheila. But Larry, they do want you to remain in that advisory role for 1 to 2 years, just to ensure that smooth transition, make sure everything goes well with the company. Looking at the management buyout, John and Sheila take over. They've raised about $45 million plus a $5 million seller note, which would be realized 5 years later. And so we would like to recommend an alternative to the two options that you have on the table, and that would be a targeted auction process. Within that auction, we would have three main types of companies: your pure private equity, pure strategic, and then bolt-on acquisitions. Those bolt-on acquisition companies would all be within the laminate industry, but we would also entertain offers from Stepstone and the current management team, John and Sheila.
So when looking at the current offers table, you notice that both premiums would be selling your company at a discount. When taking a step back and looking at the targeted auction approach, we notice that the PE-backed strategic will fetch, we're estimating the highest multiple from there due to two reasons. One, synergies, and two, they are PE-backed. Secondly, it is important to note that management buyouts, history shows those have a home field advantage. And then lastly, we can do the valuations on the company, but at the end of the day, we cannot evaluate how you value money versus your legacy.
What do you mean by home field advantage?
So with John and Sheila already being in the company, they know what's going on in it. Their culture would stay the same. Larry doesn't have an active role in the company. Everything would really stay the same. So in the past, owners that have enjoyed their time and want to leave their legacy and culture, everything the same, and protect their business the way it is, would sell it to the management at a discount because the management is not able to offer that high of a multiple compared to the PE-backed strategics or anything along those lines.
And this is something that we typically do see in management buyout deals like this, is the management team getting the company for a discount. And so we did want to make you guys aware of that moving forward.
All right, and this PE-backed premium may seem aggressive, but it is in fact conservative, as the average transaction premium in the last 2 years has been around 26 to 28% in auction.
And when you say targeted auction, approximately how many names would you think would be appropriate to go out to recognize that value?
Yeah, so that's one of the great things about this targeted auction process. You can pick, so we can do 50 companies, we can do 100 companies, and we can evaluate what would be more suitable, and as well as picking out those companies in this targeted auction process.
We actually, in the appendix, have a list of some companies that would fit under these criteria that we network with and think would be great people to contact, and we could get a successful deal done.
Yeah.
Could you jump to that and tell us who some of those are?
It's within the appendices.
It's in
The list of
Appendix J, Appendix J, to be correct. Yep.
Got it, page 23.
Yes.
Were you able to find it, sir?
I got it.
Awesome.
Who are some of these people?
And so these are companies that are within this industry, and we've targeted them and believe that they could be ideal fits to put within this targeted auction process. But moving forward, we would do a further evaluation and include Larry in on this picking process of these companies. And we will dive into that a little bit deeper as we go on through our presentation.
Why would the PE-backed strategic, I understand synergies, which obviously you don't have an estimate, but why would they be higher than the pure strategic?
Yeah, so these bolt-on acquisitions is a strategic buyer, but they have the private equity backing. So they have a lot more capital to expend on these deals. They can do a lot more. A pure strategic company might not have the money to go out and buy numerous companies to plump up their own company to make it better through organic growth. So this PE backing allows them to have the funding to go out and do these acquisitions and not have to worry about it.
As long as the capital markets hang in.
Yes, sir. And so we wanted to do a visual comparison breakdown just so that you can understand why we're giving our recommendation in comparison to the two offers that you guys have on the deal. Looking at the Stepstone deal, it's great because John and Sheila, they do roll over into the next company, get that second bite of the apple from the information we got. But Larry, you would have to be in that advisory role 1 to 2 years, and we see that as a con because you want to start your company within the next year, move on to those next hobbies. You've done your part in making this company what it is today. Also, what we addressed earlier, you would be selling your company at a discount if you went with this deal. Looking at the management buyout, it's great because John and Sheila take over. And they know the company, they've been there, they'll make sure that the employees are taken care of, the legacy is preserved. And Larry, you said that you do have the confidence that they can carry on the legacy of this company. Looking at the targeted auction process though, the main thing that we want to emphasize is control. When you do a targeted auction process, you get to pick everything. So Larry, if you want an extended timeline for whatever reason, you can do that. If you want to shorten it up so that you can move on to those new hobbies right away, you're able to do so. And you're also able to pick the companies that are within this targeted auction process. So if you identify a company, you're like, it's a great company, they can offer a high EBITDA multiple, but they're not going to care about their employees' legacy, you don't have to include them in that auction process. So it really gives you a lot of flexibility to make sure that you can encapsulate all the pros that you guys are looking for in either of these deals but can't get from one deal or the other. And that's why we are recommending this targeted auction process.
I'm curious, you mentioned on the previous slide that you'd include the management team in that process along with Stepstone. So how does that work? Won't the additional PE firms and other bidders think that management has an internal conflict and maybe an advantage, or maybe would get disgruntled and leave if they're not the winner? How do you see that working?
Well, at the end of the day, the two offers on the table are really your first bid. And also in this auction, the highest bid isn't necessarily the winner. It's what you guys feel is the best company to sell to. And then talking about the current manager, John and Sheila, if the company does fetch a higher multiple, it's actually benefited John and Sheila as well because they do have a stake in the company. And again, I know John talked about he's always wanted to start his own business, and if he really wanted to do that, he would have the capital to go along with it and leave instead of transitioning over to the new company.
Yeah, and it's really up to you, Larry, and the management team, what you want to do. The management team, if they said, hey, we don't want to be in the auction process, I'm sure Larry would include you guys in on the targeted auction process of picking these companies and identifying which one would be ideal. But you do not have to accept the offer, and we do still have two options on the table that you can go forward with.
And again, I want to emphasize that the highest bid in the auction isn't necessarily the bid you're going to go with. You're going to have control of the auction. So if you value your legacy over money, you're able to go that route. The auction process just allows you to see all the deals on the table.
A lot of flexibility, a lot of control.
So now that the team has kind of walked through our recommendation, I just wanted to share with you our typical timeline for a targeted auction process. So on average, it takes about 4 to 5 months. The good news is that the detailed information that you provided us has allowed us to see through the analysis process, and as my team mentioned, we've already identified what we feel are some good candidates for prospects to take part in the targeted auction. We'll do our due diligence and make sure that they have all the necessary information to submit their bids, and we'll work with you for a timeline that fits your schedule. We're very skilled in the marketing process, so we'll facilitate meet and greets with these prospects to give you a chance to meet them, to understand your objectives in selling the company and assure alignment in your culture, and we'll facilitate the auction for you. During the evaluation phase, we'll collect the proposals and give you an opportunity to review the valuations and the cultural fit and select the candidate that you feel is best for your company. And then obviously the execution phase, we'll bring in our top M&A legal team to ensure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and that everything is to your liking.
So I think I understand how the process works. You did mention that a number of these buyers would be strategics in one form or another. I'm not sure I want to give them all my secrets. So how do you manage confidentiality and making sure that they're just not going to go on a fishing expedition?
Yeah, so we would make sure that the non-disclosure agreements are handed out and any necessary paperwork to protect your company, we'll make sure that's all signed before we move forward with that. And we do have legal teams that can take care of that for you.
And again, to emphasize the auction process, you have the control. You can control the criteria of the auction. You can pick who you want in the auction.
Yes.
So you did a nice job giving a couple options. I'm curious if you considered an ESOP, because one of the things Larry mentioned, I mentioned, is is that I do care about my employees, and you guys have done a nice job of articulating the care for them, but have you considered another ownership structure like an ESOP?
No, we haven't, because this targeted auction process really allows you to make sure your employees are taken care of by, going through the companies that we would put within this process. Now, we could consider that moving forward if that's something you would really like to pursue and, have more information about, but we believe that our recommendation of this targeted auction process would be the best fit and the best scenario. But like I said, Larry, if you want to move forward with that and want to look into that a little bit deeper, we would love to do so.
And just going back to the control of the targeted auction and the criteria, we could put something saying the workers that go with the new company get a stake, or that's something you can control and go about throughout the auction process when you're setting that up.
Thank you. That's possible? That's possible to do something like that?
I
Yes.
believe it is. You're in full control of the auction, and I mean, at the end of the day, you have the final say on where you're handing your business off to. If you value that legacy in your workers more than the value, we can easily adjust the auction and the criteria around it to do so.
Well, that's great, because I've been giving them hams at Christmas time every year.
Jelly of the Month Club?
Okay, so as Vincent mentioned, we are a full-service investment bank, so we will walk you through the entire process. I just wanted to highlight some of the comprehensive advisory services that we offer. So we do have a wide portfolio of customers in the manufacturing sector that we feel we can bring to the table for this targeted auction process. We'll facilitate that meet and greet again to make sure that it's a good cultural fit and that anybody that's participating in the auction aligns with your expectations. We will bring in our top legal advisors in the M&A industry to ensure a seamless process through the acquisition. And most importantly, we'll advocate for the things that you care about. If, for example, the management roles, if you want an ESOP, we can evaluate an employee stock option. And most importantly, maximizing the business value that you get for the sale of your company.
You mentioned a consulting fee after the transaction closes. So we've chosen who we want to do the transaction with. What would your role be after the transaction, post-transaction integration? What kind of things do you do there?
That's ensuring that the process goes seamlessly. It continues to keep our legal team involved to make sure that all of the paperwork is complete and meets your satisfaction.
Okay.
What if buyer doesn't want that?
Well, going back to the controlled auction, you select the criteria around it.
Yes, sir.
With the controlled auction process and your estimated timeline of 4 to 5 months, is there anything we can do to accelerate that?
Yes, and
And lessen the burden on the management team so they don't have to respond, 15 different buyers?
Yes, sir. So we can create a feeling of urgency in this timeline, by facilitating those meet and greets right away, strict deadlines. And like we said before, you have control over that. So if you want to create a sense of urgency, shorten that timeline up for whatever reason it is, you can do so, sir.
Does your firm offer vendor due diligence reports or?
Oh, yes. And Shelley, you can touch on that as well with everything we offer.
Yep, that's part of the consulting fee.
Yes, sir. So we wanted to make sure we gave you a valuation on your company and help you understand how we came to that valuation. We went over the two options, what we think about those, the pros and cons, and then we also recommended to you the third option that we recommend, which is the strategic auction process. Really emphasizing on that control aspect to give you guys everything that you want moving forward. And with our industry expertise and our experience and even our past deal making experience, we've done multiple targeted auction processes in the past. All of them have been successful with no issues because of that control aspect. So we know what we're doing on this, we can deliver, and we don't have any issues with that. And like I said before at the beginning, we love your guys' company culture. I mean, we really appreciate how much you care about your employees and how genuine that is, because that's something we value, and it makes our job feel very fulfilling. We appreciate your guys' commentary going throughout this. If there's anything that you need to us address or go over again, any questions or concerns, we want to make sure that we leave here with total clarity on everything we addressed today. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.